right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on me. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the L.A.R. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe cause I'm focused. No handout for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught them shots. Another piece of the puzzle connecting dots. You can find the truth of laughter and liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. Then she gon' walk there like a model for me. Like I don't see her intentions all in my scope. At a time we were just friends with advice to land. Nothing special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't put my words, just pack and issue that raw dough. Just pack and issue that raw dough. Pack and issue that raw dough. To the people that listen, to my people, they know that I do care. With their hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, it's time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the back, label to change up his swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the sheet get, wooden beats or all type of African shit. Just rock a table fade, swagger till I'm made. Polo collars and fly kicks. Just polo collars and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wig. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shot. Bang.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people. And I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, make the blind lead the blind. We all follow the shit.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, brown nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reverend. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, packing the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange food, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, we treat you like Othello. L.A.R. we the stars, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm living sky high so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee. Roy beating the mean as bad as Mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me as strange fruit, will it ever happen, not again. A crooked judge say homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here and pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe two up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a cop, he last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back, you know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. And now she want welfare. Law said that they can't live there, so we ain't there. And life ain't fair, but the food free and the rent cheap. It's roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie dolls, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, girl, why your ass out? They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't ever in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? Yeah, cause we still preaching unity. And it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made in God's image, thinking with Satan's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. America bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line, but when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
You do not take a person who for years has been hobbled by chains and liberate him, bring him up to the starting line of a race, and then say, you are free to compete with all the others, and still justly believe that you have been completely fair. Thus, it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates. And this is the next and the more profound stage of the battle for civil rights. We seek not just freedom, but opportunity. We seek not just legal equity, but human ability. Not just equality as a right and a theory, but equality as a fact and equality as a result.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber Diatribe, welcome to the show. Here's the thing. Black men are like John Wick. We fighting like John Wick just from every angle, and there's something always there. The reason I started with the civil rights piece is because this is what you're born into. Before you, like when you're born into your family, you're born into America. You're born in the United States of America, and this is what you're born into. Being behind the rest of the United States of America, systematically, on purpose, making sure that your life is hard for somebody else's gain, so their life can be easy. And because that clip is so long ago, but still relevant, because you still have to compete in society. Don't get it twisted. But understand you don't have home field advantage in America. The crowd is not on your side in America. America is not on your side and wants you to succeed and wants the best for you. That's not the country you're born into. That's not, and some people will go, that's nowhere in the world. It's like, well, I get you, but we're in America. And this is a completely different task, because coming from slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the war on drugs was actually just a war on black America. Civil rights, the war on drugs after that. And now it's just, everybody's on cruise control, because there isn't we're living in like diet Jim Crow. Let's just put it like that. You can find and research things that happen in hiring and education, employment rather, in education, in real estate, housing. That's always happened to some degree. Part of the housing bubble that burst was the subprime loans, where you were jamming black people up for stuff. The people on their who try to not renovate but appraise their homes to sell them will get screwed, you know. So you're gonna get less because you're black. Like I remember having to tell my mom and my stepdad, like, take all the black stuff down in the house. And my mother was just like, there's nothing, they're gonna buy the house anyways because da, 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 da. I'm like, no, they're not. And then the realtor, she got a white realtor, and the lady told her, you're gonna have to take this stuff down because they're praising it lower. I'm guessing, you know, because it's too ethnic in here. So that's an issue. You know, that's a big issue. So at the end of the day, we got this dynamic that we're born into. And this dynamic will never change. And even though we all know what it is, you got to understand that nobody's going to care. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really going to care because Black America and you black boys you're going to get it at an early age. You're going to be the enemy at an early age. You're going to be sabotaged at an early age. You're born into that. Born into being sabotaged. And it's not as bad when you're a child, but the adults in America, especially that are not black, don't have an issue with trying to destroy your life when you're a child. Because America isn't quote unquote fair, right? It's not playing fair. And it's never going to play fair. And people love that it's not going to be fair. The opportunities are not going to be fair. Nothing is going to be equitable. Nothing is going to be good in that sense. So I just got to let you know what you're being born into, because when we get into these next things, just know it comes from this. You get what I'm saying? So now the next thing we're going to talk about is the parenting situation, because you got to fight that too, and your parents got to fight that too.
Peace, family. So I'm at the grocery store with my 14-year-old. I ain't have a cart, but I need to get the water. I told him, hey, grab the water. Let's go to the self-checkout. Of course, he was like, I can't carry this. I'm like, you got this. Pick up the water and let's go. Here comes the self-checkout lady. Oh, poor baby. Go out of her way to get a cart. And I looked at her. I said, he good. And she looked at me like I was the devil. Don't get in the way of me making my son a man, okay? Because all that oh, poor baby, my son is not poor and he's not a baby. That's a very abundant young man. The problem with our community is that we over here coddling these boys all the time. Look, my son might be raised in a single mother household, but please believe you ain't about to see no feminized man coming out my house. His wife is not going to be complaining about the fact that her husband can't knuckle up and do something as simple as grab a container of water. You dig what I'm saying? Because, see, the thing is, if he was on a football field or if he was on a basketball court, she would have been cheering him on. But when he's doing something simple like a man should be able to do, you want to coddle him and you want to make it easy for him. That's not what we doing over here. We raising Muhammad soldiers over here. So I don't know what it is that a lot of folks is doing in their household, but in my household, please believe it's men coming out of here. It's men. It's men coming out of here. If you are out in public and you see somebody parenting their children, how about just keep your hands off?
I hope you see the reason why I'm saying you got to fight that, because I use a quote unquote single mother. She might be married, so FYI, but just in case, I'm gonna say that. But the issue is this: if you're a woman and you're a single mother and you got a son, and you start realizing that, man, the other women in our community want my son to be soft. We want him to be soft, you know. We don't want him to do things and learn how to and be a man for himself. We don't want him to be responsible. We don't want him to be consistent. You know, we don't want him to work through adversity. We want him to be weak. We want him to. We want to coddle him. She's learning like, yo, That's not the kind of kid I'm trying to raise. So there comes a point where you got to take into consideration that when you're a young boy, what I'm going to say to you is this. You need to be leery of a free lunch. You need to be leery of a situation where people are purposely letting you take the easy route. Sometimes you might be at odds with your parents, and I'm going to tell you what I mean. Some of your parents might be hard on you because they want you to take the hard route, because if you don't get the hard route early, your adult life is going to be extremely hard. Because all the things you should have did early, you're going to have to do as an adult. So some of y'all don't realize that somebody's making it easy for you, because even though you think they love you, they really don't. They're sabotaging you being prepared for life. And then on the flip side, how can I say this? You might not like the people who are hard on you because they're preparing you for life. You might feel like they don't like you, but the truth is, they're like somebody, like, I'm not trying to say abusive hard, but I'm trying to say challenging you because life is going to challenge you. If those people are challenging you, they're not challenging you because they despise you or they don't like you. They're challenging you because you have to keep getting better and keep growing, because by the time you reach the legal age of adulthood, even before you actually reach the legal age of adulthood, you're fair game to be attacked, to be destroyed before you even get started. So you have to understand that, man, that some of your parents are finding out. And it sucks to say this. Some of your parents are finding out that the world doesn't want you to succeed. And some of your parents don't care. You just, you're there until you're 18. You're there for a check. You're there just getting in the way. You're there. And they just like, look, man, I fed you, I clothed you, didn't you? Hurry up and get up out of here. Some of you are not raised, some of you are tolerated. And you're fighting that battle. You know what I'm saying? You John Wick. You fighting all these different things. You fighting the education battle, the teacher battle, the coach is not sometimes, but you're fighting your peers. You're fighting the standards. You're fighting how the system is working, not for you, but against you. And your parents are fighting it at the same time. And here's the kicker. Some of your parents are winners and some of your parents are losers. Some of your parents will never quit. And some of your parents are straight quitters. And guess what? They're going to impart those things onto you. And you might be fighting yourself. Okay? You might be fighting yourself at that time. Because some of y'all don't get it. What feels bad is probably the best thing for you. What feels good might be the worst thing for you. But you're young and you're impressionable, and you got a fantasy mind. So I would say don't gravitate to the hard things. Don't gravitate to the easy things. I'm so sorry about saying that. Don't gravitate to the easy things. Because once you make the hard stuff easy, your life is gonna be easy. But then what is that? Oh, I forgot who the guy was. Jordan Peterson. Clean your room. Start clean yourself and clean your room, and then you can clean up all the clutter around your life. Even if your family is sabotaging you, okay? Even if your community is sabotaging you. But I want to show you what will happen to you when you're in college and you're doing the right thing stereotypically. And then I'm going to show you what happens if you go the wrong route. But check it out.
Faggots! You guys are all faggots!
Go back to the projects, faggots! Go back to the projects! Faggots! Go back to the projects! Okay, I hope you check that out. This is for really all you college students and all you kids that might go to military or the trade schools. See, your family can't prepare you for stuff like that sometimes. Now even if you're living a good stereotype, you're an athlete or you're a student going to college, the athlete stereotype or the just student that, how did you make it into college? You're going to get that kind of crowd. Unless you go into like an HBCU. But so understand something. Your same people that if you go into a school, you represent that school. Yeah, I'm of this, I'm of that, I'm of this. Longhorn. All that, right? And you're black. But every time you go on a road game, you belong in the projects. You get what I'm saying? You belong in the projects. Your mother's a thot. You sold drugs. Da 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 da. But the irony of it is, those same people are cheering for other people for their home team, and most of those guys are black. So you start realizing, I'm just a commodity. I'm just, looked at as an affirmative action benefiter. I benefit from, because I'm not supposed to be here. All these people are supposed to be so much better than me. And people use race and racism as a way to get you to lose it. And it's at a higher level. Like when you're in high school, you're gonna fight that battle in high school. But in college, it's gonna be on that level of, 70, 20, 30, 70, 100,000 people. And you can hear people really disrespecting you. But you're not supposed to go mess with those people. You're not supposed to be mad. You might get a couple of people on the field, since it's predominantly black, you might not get that as much. But you're going to get it at some point. Your coaches will let stuff like that slide. Your white coaches and your black coaches, take it out on the other team. It's like, okay. Shut the other team up, which is cool. Winning does shut people up. I'm not even going to lie. But those same people, when you decide you're a young man, you want to go out and just, try to live a young life and live your young college life, those are the same people that are going to start a fight with you in hopes that you get kicked out. Those are the same people. Hold up. Those are the same people. Those are the same individuals who going to do that to you. Those are the same people's girlfriends that are going to, or not even girlfriends, sisters, maybe cousins, maybe aunties. Those are the same people whose family is going to me too you. Understand that. And those people actually are on your same campus. Because you're not going to go out into the world in other places like that, because you already know it's a hostile environment if you go out. But at the same time, this is what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to be fighting this. And you're going to be fighting all this while you're, quote unquote, pursuing your dreams on the way to adulthood. Simultaneously, this is going on. These other people ain't dealing with stuff like this. You are. And they're going to be benefiting off of trying to mess you up mentally. They're going to tell you, your peers who are not black are going to tell you to get over it. The people making money off you are going to tell you to get over it. They're going to, hey, who cares? People are going to treat you like they're doing you a favor. Well, you're here, huh? You're not in the projects. It's okay. And it's like, oh, okay. You're going to learn there that you might have to pursue your dreams
around people who are on your same, who's supposed to be on your same team, who don't want you to succeed. They want you to succeed for them, but not for yourself. You're going to have that issue. And then when you're in a hostile environment, you already know it exists. So at the same time you're pursuing something, you're fighting that battle. And some people win and some people lose. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the other direction. If you never went to college or trade school or the military, and you actually were, quote unquote, in the projects, right? Or just you wanted to be in hood activity. This is how it could go.
You know what I'm saying? So I get out the car, boom, close the door, walk up to the door, knock on the door. Oh, all right, man, walk on the door, gun to my hip, fiend, don't say nothing, I'll kill you right now.
I'll call you by name.
I swear to God, I'll kill you right now.
You knew who it was too?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Right? So I was like, okay. Wow, he walked me to this bedroom, opened the door, all I heard was
tapes.
You know, these cats being duct taped, and I was just like, you know, like, shit, right? I'm next. Now I'm getting tape put on me. I'm being laid on the floor next to these men. All these men were older than me, right? Man, I'm just laying. I'm laying there, right? I remember what I had on and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm laying there, and I'm so mad with myself. I can't express it, right? I'm just mad with myself that my mama got to discover me like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm so pissed with myself. Oh.
Now, if y'all don't know Fiend, he was a rapper. He was on No Limit. I used to play his music a lot when I was younger in high school. When I was in Chicago, I used to play that No Limit, all that stuff, and they'd be like, "Who is this?" And years later, they was like, "Yeah, oh, that's who that was." You know, when I was in college, everybody was a No Limit soldier, right? But that story deals with some of y'all who you might be rebellious, and you didn't go to college, and you didn't go to school, and when I say trade school, you didn't go to the military, and you was out there, and you had to learn the hard way. And and some of y'all feel like, you know, I got ops, these people trying to get me. Maybe it's the police, maybe it's the other gangs or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, the reason you're in a bad spot, or you got ops, or you're stressed out, is because you chose that. Now you got it. Now you're fighting the criminal element, and you're fighting the law. You know, and some of y'all ain't really trying to be in the streets like that. It's just, some of y'all didn't believe in yourselves, or y'all didn't put in enough effort to go to the next level, you know, or you just want to quote unquote take a break, and you're a young adult and you're really not doing nothing. You know, you're really wasting your time. So you kind of just fall, you know, slowly walk with your way into that street life. And the most important thing that he said in that was when he got duct tape, and he said, you know, this is how my mama gonna have to find me. This is how she gonna have to know. And he was mad at himself. Mad at himself. And the thing about it is, and sometimes, and I'll say this, sometimes it gets in the folks' heads where you're raised to be a stereotype, you're treated like a stereotype, and you become the stereotype. And then you find out that you really don't want to be that. And for some people, it's too late. You know, I forgot that young rapper who want to play crazy in court now. That, no, man. No. But, and then, you know, you get yourself in that situation where people will tell you stuff like, you know, you threw your life away. And a lot of people did. A lot of people did. Like the people who choose crime are the minority of our community, the minority of black males, you know. But they get too much attention, far too much attention. But the thing about it is this. you're the group who's fighting like John Wick unnecessarily. That was a choice. Because not only are you fighting quote unquote America, now you're fighting your own people. Or your own people that look like you on the other side, right? And it doesn't really, and it doesn't really lead to much. It really doesn't lead to anything, for the vast majority. There's just like anything, there's a few people at the top eating, but everybody else is pretty much struggling, regretting their decisions. And you fighting this. And the worst part about it is some of y'all catch felonies and a lot of your life is over. Not because a felony can end you like that, but you don't have the work ethic to just say, okay, I'm going to be a trucker or I'm going to work construction and I'll figure it out, maybe save my money, build a business. Y'all don't do that. A lot of folks don't do that. A lot of folks just pack it in, And then on top of that, the regret, the guilt, the shame, you might go from a drug dealer, you might be a drug dealer who has a drug habit, the robbing and stealing. Now you're self-destructive. You're destructive to everybody else and you're destructive to yourself. And now you're fighting your ops and yourself. And the law is hovering over your head. And you figure out somewhere, damn, it's not really worth it. And why can't I do something outside of this? Now what I'm going to go into next, in a sense, marries both of these things. But because if you go the positive direction or the negative direction, there's still a glass ceiling. And the glass ceiling is because of this reason, which goes back to the beginning.
If they take over coaching like everybody wants them to, there's not going to be anything left for the white people. I mean, all the players are black. I mean, the only thing that the whites control is the coaching jobs. Now, I'm not being derogatory about it, but that's all that's left for them. The black talent is beautiful. It's great. It's out there. So the only thing left for the whites is a couple coaching jobs.
Yeah, maybe we need to get more black coaches, don't you?
Oh, it's all right with me. Okay, well, I'm sure that they'll take over that pretty soon, too.
You want me to tell you why there aren't any black executives? I'm not going to tell you it's because the blacks aren't intelligent enough. I'm going to tell you because it is that whites have been running the establishment of broadcasting, just as they've been running the establishment of baseball for too long, and seem to be reluctant to give up power.
But let's say what it is, that there is a sense that the black can work in the field. He can work in the cotton field and he can work on the ball field. But ask a black to use his brain, run a team, plan a team, oh my goodness, you're talking about real integration.
See, once you're an adult, once you're a young adult and you go through this thing and you're becoming an adult, you start realizing I was born into this, but nobody wants me to quote unquote take over. The fear is of a takeover. The fear is because, if you're doing good, I don't want you to do that good. I want you to do good enough that somebody else can profit off you, but not good enough that you can profit off of yourself. You might be doing the right thing and you're like going for a job, going for a career, going for employment. And you're like, why these doors keep slamming in my face? Why I get all of these no's? But if it's something menial job, manual labor job, or quote unquote, I can get that. And sometimes it's great to get those jobs, to be perfectly honest, because, manual labor, trades, some of those are high paying jobs that quote unquote nobody wants. And I would say as a black man, go to those directions. Go to cleaning sewers and working garbage trucks and all that other stuff. If that type of stuff. Be a master electrician, the guys that work on the poles and whatnot. When there's outages, try to be one of those guys. Gas lines, that type of stuff. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But if you and work your way in that direction, if because it pays. But even when you're doing that well, you might have issues going up into management because the fear of the takeover. For some of you guys, and I use the negative sense, in the streets, you ain't gonna never be the plug. Once y'all go so far, y'all realize, the gangs and even the criminal element has a racist glass ceiling, right? Because nobody wants you to quote unquote take over. They'll blame you for everything. They'll blame you for everything, but you're not gonna quote unquote take over, and because nobody wants you to, be on top, right? So you're fighting that battle. You're fighting the glass ceiling battle. And that battle is not going to go away. And just like they say, some people are going to break through. And I'm going to tell you what you need to know and not what you want to hear. Some people break through that glass ceiling and forget every other black person they know. They don't exist. I'm the special Negro. I'm out of here. I ain't working with none of y'all. Some people just work so hard. It's like, look, I'm free. I need a breather. And they found, and they broke through, and now their family came through with them, and their family kind of dragging them back down. And they like, I ain't helping nobody else. That happens. Some people break through the glass ceiling, and they're looking for folks. And they miss on good people more than they hit. I'm gonna just say it like that. So even when you break through, you're gonna be fighting like John Wick. You're gonna be fighting this and that, and you're gonna be fighting the people around you, even if you break through that glass ceiling, because they're not gonna want you there. They're not gonna. One of them got through, but because sometimes what got you a breakthrough was your time and not necessarily your talent, even if you were talented. Even if you were talented, your timing made it, because, things might have been going downhill or influx, and they might have needed somebody to blame, and then they put you there expecting for the ship to sink because they gave you a sinking ship and you didn't patched it up, and now it's floating and now it's going, and they're like, oh, whoa, and then they might get rid of you. I'm gonna just tell you that. And then that might be your job, even in the company, going from place to place, patching holes in the sinking ship. And you won't get as much credit as anybody else. Everybody else will they'll move you around, and the person that came in will take the credit for everything. Because of the glass ceiling. Because people don't want the takeover. And a lot of people ain't even trying to quote unquote take over things. They're just trying to do their job. Because if you want to take something over, you create your own thing. So a lot of these people are they're fantasy hating. Anything that's competition, when they see you in the same environment, you're competition. And if you're better, now we have to form like Voltron to hate on you. So you got to take that into consideration. And unfortunately, people have that same sentiment because when it comes to relationships. And I'm going to get into that next, because they might be a glass ceiling. Hopefully not, though.
Black men are getting married more than black women.
They don't want to get married. They have wounds.
Well, black men have more marriages than black women, even though they are statistically less than black women.
They also don't take care of their kids, too, statistically. There's more of them that don't take care of their own kids.
That's not true. CDC actually documented this, that black men are the most involved fathers in America. Shocker, yes.
Now, you see that clip. I think he was African. The African dude had to tell the sisters this, because facts don't matter. Those old kind of Kevin Samuels-esque, what do you call that? CDC black demographics statistics. And the reason I did this after the takeover is because if you've gotten through all of that, you fight through all of that, and now you want to start a family, you might have to fight. You might have to fight through feminism. I'm just gonna be honest. And those are the battles you face that I did previously, just coming up in the world. From a baby to a grown man. Now, when you get to your home life, this might be part of the issue. When you're searching for family, searching to create a family and stability. the idea that you're not good enough. You're not who you say you are, you know. You really don't want to do what you say you want to do. You're really not a good guy, even though you pose as a good guy because you're a good guy. And you're going to fight that battle of feminism where the quote unquote bad boys are attractive. The bad men are attractive, right? And people are going to purposely go to the bad route to have a sob story to tell, to blame you when they meet you. That's just the reality of it. But if you find love, family, and you're doing your thing, just keep doing it. Don't even trip. Because ultimately, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals, your want for family, your want for kids, for legacy, your work ethic, it may be appreciated, it may not. It may be appreciated, it may not. And you're going to have to deal with that because you're going to have to vet who you're dealing with. And sometimes, you know, you win, but most times you lose. And you need to take that as a lesson. Like, okay, this is what I thought I wanted. This didn't work out. This is what I don't want. I'm trying this to see if it works. You know, can I be with this type of person? Can I be with that type of person? And at the same time, like I said, you're going to be fighting feminism. Same time. And sometimes it's going to be tiring because you fought all of these battles in the world to get where you're at, and now you're fighting in the house. Or you're fighting not even in the house. Before you get to the house, you're fighting in approaching, in dating, maybe even online dating, you know, when you're face to face in person. It's you not going to be, you lying, this type of thing. And some of y'all the vast majority will just wind up single and mingling. And then you have that situation where the minority finds somebody and it just kind of backs out. Like, you know, like that Simpsons, Homer Simpson's meme when he goes through the bushes, you know what I'm saying? What you gonna do now? The question, like, what are you really gonna do now? Because when you're young and having fun, you know, you're like, hey, this is good. But then you get, at a certain point, you get a little bit older or you get a little bit discouraged or you go, you know what, I'd rather back out. Now, some of y'all messed this up because some of y'all actually fighting, y'all fighting being monogamous. You know what I'm saying? And y'all creating that issue that doesn't have to exist. Some of y'all, you want to do your thing. But one way or another, you're going to have a glass ceiling. Even a player has a glass ceiling. You see what I'm saying? So, and even when you get what you want, it's going to take work to keep it. So, no matter what you do, you're going to be fighting like John Wick, you know. But I would say, don't give up, but I'm going to get into that.
35% of black fathers are active in their kids' lives. But there's only so much a man will tolerate from a woman. Only so much. So we go with the narrative, oh, your daddy wasn't there. Nobody asked the daddy. Everybody get the story from mama. Nobody ever asked daddy what happened.
My dad was at everything important, but he wasn't around all the time. I got my lunch money and tip money because he worked the valet after he worked for the levee board, right? I couldn't find my dad for 2 weeks after Katrina because he was living at the levee board when everybody else in Louisiana got an opportunity to evacuate. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud that that's my dad. I'm proud that my dad rolled up to my football games in his valet uniform and then drove to work before the game was over. Like, I'm proud that I had to, in my senior year, drive him to work, drop him off, because I didn't have a car. Like, I couldn't get me a car as a senior, and like, I had to be at school at a certain time, so I couldn't catch the bus. I would drive to the school, actually catch a ride with a friend. My dad would catch a ride with somebody so he could come back and get his car. Like, they made those sacrifices. So what that, like, I ain't fucking see him every day. You know, and I just think, man, like, I am having a hard time with that, you know, because I think sometimes it's like, you're the best you may have been individually, but you being the best individually is not what everybody thinks is the best for them.
So I'm saying don't give up, but I'm gonna get into don't give up later. Seriously. But you can wind up either one of these dads. You can wind up, because of fighting feminism, you wind up having kids, right? That's what normally happens. While you're fighting feminism, you might have a kid or two, or, you know, be married or divorced, whatever. And then when you get older, you realize, because you're fighting feminism, basically it's feminism is fighting you against your family, right? So when that's the issue, you find yourself in a spot where you could either be the dad that your kid admires or the dad that your kid despises, right? And they may not know what kind of dad you truly are until they're adults, even if you're there. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're with them and you raise them properly, normally they're appreciative, but some of them are not. But as a black man, you're going to have to fight the family and fight your kids. They out to get you too. You John Wick. You might want the best for them, but you might have to fight with them for them to want the best for themselves. I say it in that way. So that's a whole nother thing. And now you got to deal with this part. During that process, you might have to tolerate a lot of things if you got a bad situation. And sometimes you might just say enough is enough. And you might be looked at as the guy that walked away or the guy that quit or abandonment, whatever. And on another occasion, like what Ryan Clark was talking about, some of you kids, you might have the kind of kids that, and there's no nice way for me to say this, you know, who might be ashamed that you're working and you're not balling on the world. You're working to put food on the table. So then, you know, it might be, yeah, my dad did stuff, but he wasn't balling out here. So, you know, forget his sacrifices. Now, kids who got a good head on their shoulders, they realize it. But kids who don't, they get materialistic and just, you know, go the wrong way. And you might be fighting that. And you feel like, you know, somebody else is gunning for you. And at the same time, you might get blamed either way. Hopefully you get praised in the end, but the end is the end. It ain't the beginning, it ain't the middle, it's the end. So you're dealing with these things. You're dealing with these things back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Hopefully you got good kids, whatever. Hopefully you got a good situation, a good co-parenting situation, but unfortunately, that seems not to be the norm. So, and if you are, when you become a man and if you wind up having a son, you're going to watch your son go through all these processes that I talked about previously, you know, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And you might have to guide them through some things, protect them from some things. And sometimes you might not be able to, because if you're at odds with the other parent. Sometimes the person that's sabotaging them it's not just, America, it's their mom, And I've seen it where sometimes dads have sabotaged their kids. Classic sense of, I don't want you to be better than me, so I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in your program. Seen both parents do that kind of stuff. But you might have to watch your kid going through that. Seriously. And if you can talk them through it, or if not, maybe you're communicating, maybe you're not, for whatever reason, right? And I've seen how, let's just go with the bad baby mama stereotype. I've seen too many times where a woman is at odds with a father, and then she wants to be cool after the child support is over. The system ain't hanging over his head no more. The kid might be sabotaged to all get out. But now it's like, oh, I'm sorry about all the stuff I did to you for 18 years consecutively. But now, since I can't get paid from it, I'm going to be a good person. I went to church yesterday. You had to fight that. And on the other side of that, you might have to stand in the gap if you're that other father that made all those sacrifices, and since the kid grows up and sees, I'm proud of you for everything you did. You might have to stand in the gap for the kid in that process of being an adult. Like, hey, we pushing the brakes right here. You're not going down this road. I'm going to tell you why. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it's like, hey, I love you even more. But that's that part. So one way or another, you're going to be fighting. And the reason I say you always going to be fighting, we John Wick, because we always fighting. But the goal is to never give up. John Wick didn't give up. But let me get to the next part.
I want to say to every last one of you that you may feel discouraged and you may feel like you're being forgotten. I want to say to all of the creative people, all the people that have a gift. Before I got married, what I ate was microwavable foods because I couldn't cook. The problem with microwavable foods is that after you cook it, you stick a fork in, the middle is still cold. The reason why grandmama's cooking was so good because she didn't cook Sunday dinner, Sunday evening. She started Saturday night. And she let it marinate overnight. That's why it was so good. The reason why your gift is not like all these other gifts that are so microwavable is because God's put something in you that is too great. And you got to know that what's inside of you is so great that it's taking a little bit longer because God did not call you to be microwavable. He wants you to know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.
I'm glad Kirk Franklin said this, and I might keep this one short, I don't know. But because we go through so much, sometimes our breakthrough takes longer than other folks. We don't have the support system as other folks. We don't have the slingshot to success as other folks. We have more times where we did all the hard work and heavy lifting, and we wind up on the back burner. We have that more than other folks. But keep going. Keep going. Because whatever you want to, the success you want in life, whatever that may be, it comes to people who are not going to give up. And sometimes it might not be in the way that you wanted it or expected it. Sometimes you didn't work so hard in this direction, and it's like it didn't pan out the way you thought. And then what winds up happening is you do something else in this direction, and it just like all the lessons you've learned and all the hard work you put in, it wasn't in vain. It wasn't a waste. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks because with all this fighting, sometimes you might, how can I say it? You might fight your own success because when is it going to happen? Like, damn, when is it going to happen? And if it doesn't happen, like, what am I doing? Like, what am I going through all this for? Life been marinating me and seasoning me up. I'm cooking, but when am I gonna be official? And nobody knows. And as you can see, even in social media on YouTube, you've seen people who went from, humble beginnings to boom, and then went back down to humble beginnings. Even successful people don't stay on top forever. So everybody has their time. So don't be ashamed of your time if it came later. And keep your mind and body and spirit sharp just in case your success comes later. Don't think about it as it passed me by. Think about it as it ain't got to me yet. And sometimes you get impatient and you rush it, and then you kind of throw a monkey wrench in it, and you ruin a good thing. So don't do that to yourself. Other than that, on top of that, I would say, because of the kid situation, I would say never give up, because your kids will have a template to see what not giving up is. See what I'm saying? The kid's like, okay, whatever happened, he didn't give up. So all the stuff he went through, he didn't give up. So if he could do it, I could do it. Same thing with your family members and friends. If you could do it, they could do it. I'm not necessarily telling you to be an inspiration. Like one of my favorite clips, you're an inspiration, Pat McAfee. I'm just telling you to keep fighting the good fight until you get to your moment, and then fight to hold on to that moment. But I'm going to tell you why, because of this clip right here.
How does it feel to be dying?
It feels like all these beautiful pieces of life are flying around me, and I'm trying to catch them. But the pieces are moving faster now, and I can't catch them all. I can feel them slipping through my fingertips. And soon, where there used to be my granddaughter breathing and my son laughing, there will be nothing. I know it feels like you have all the time in the world, but you don't. So stop playing it so cool. Catch the moments of your life. Catch them while you're young and quick. Because sooner than you know it, you'll be old and slow. And there'll be no more of them to catch.
This is important. This is important. And the reason it's important is because a lot of times we don't realize how short life is. And I can speak, and sometimes we're fighting life so much that we miss it. And whatever small moments exist, enjoy those moments. Enjoy the whole journey. Even when the cards is against you, enjoy the journey. Because if you don't, there may come a time where you wish you did. You wish you did. So don't do that to yourself. Don't. There are things that I wish I would have done, but I didn't do. And it's in a sense of more happiness, more happier moments when I could have just had a blast. I was like, I'm too tired. It's been a long day. I'm angry from such and such and such. And I couldn't sometimes you have to compartmentalize. I learned that. But when I was younger, I didn't learn. You got to compartmentalize your day and your emotion and the way you're fighting life, because, you might have a window where even though everything might not be good, you can make it good in this window. You can make this moment good. So make that moment good. Not just for yourself. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. Always take time for yourself. My grandmother told me this thing years ago before she passed. She was like, how can I say this? She said, when I was home, I would take 15 minutes just in my room before I even interacted with everybody else, just to take some time for myself to get myself decompressed from the day. And fellas, you know, I think that's a great thing to do. Decompress from the days, from the months, from the years, from all the experiences, and live a little bit. Live a little bit. Because, you know, it's only one life. You're not going to get it back. I'm not saying go make dumb decisions, but I am saying live. You know, don't let people, because with all this stuff going around, some people live their life celebrating the fact that they're trying to sabotage your life. That's what their whole life is about. Plenty of people have wasted their lives trying to make sure, but you didn't have anything, right? Or we didn't have anything. Don't waste your life in that with them. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste your life with that. Don't waste your life in that same, I got to fight this person, I got to fight that person, I got to fight this person, I got to fight that person. You know, if you John Wick fight everybody. I get it. But he don't fight them simultaneously. It's not a he catch it. If you watch the movies, he catch them one person at a time. You know, it might be a few people there. It's one person at a time. And you got to take life's moments, one moment at a time. Good or bad. Because the one thing you don't want is to get near the end of your days and realize your great memories are few because you was going through everything else and everybody else had your attention and emotions. Don't do that. So, you can fight. You can win. But do something to enjoy your life. So, I'm going to leave it at that, man. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
This looks like a job for Superman.
I do this,
Spoken from the lips of the young,
of
the old, bear of me.
Yeah, gotta put it all in.
And they are Superman.
All the way. I guess I'm taking off the cape through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I walk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends in Justice League, only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke, then again it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I'll finish it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you. Coming out, listen. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.